mining exploration challenge is one where you're driving a remote control car around to some designated spots to drill some sample holes. From those sample holes you need to collect a sample from that space and bring it back to the base station. The two difficulty parts about this is one, the driver can't see the car. So you're simulating a mining environment where you might be going to an open cut or an underground mine where the driver's sitting up in the office and he's driving the remote control vehicle down into the mine. And so you can't actually physically see where the car's going. The second part is you need to be able to bring back samples, because obviously it's no use sending a sample cart down unless you actually bring the samples back to be analysed, and so that's the second part. So that's essentially what you're doing in the mining challenge. The mining challenge is quite a good extracurricular or engagement STEM style program, where you get a small group of students that have an interest in very much the engineering style STEM, where they're looking at building, constructing, programming a vehicle to be able to move around. And so traditionally we've run it in our school with a small group between 3 and 5 students, where each of those students have a particular part to concentrate on, whether that's the RC vehicle, whether that's the drilling component, whether that's the video component, whether that's the microcontroller component or programming and wireless communication, but we've run it that way. We have run small programs where we've embedded it into a science class or into a tech class, where the students there spend the time concentrating more on the building and understanding aspects of the challenge. And so in the tech class they're very much concentrating on the CAD work about designing and building the different elements that are required for the challenge. In the science class they're very much about the forces, the motion, and looking at how you can sort of look at the science behind what it is you're doing and to get a more efficient vehicle. My advice with any challenge that you do is about what I call the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. With this challenge, we can split it up into 3 primary things. So first of all, we need an RC car. So you're supplied with an RC car, so you need someone who can drive that. So even though it's tempting to tell that student off that's just grabbing the car and spending every lesson driving it, they actually need to do that. They need to drive that car as much as possible so they know exactly how that car is going to handle and how that car is going to move about. Yes, they don't need to go out to the quadrangle within the school and just fang it around and do dollies and that sort of stuff. So you design more intricate circuits for them to do. So get a few cones from PE and make them drive around the cones and try to get them to do as quick as possible. Make those tracks harder and harder to do. As you develop stuff to put on the car's going to get heavier, it's going to have a different distribution of weight. So do that. Put a platform on top of the car, put different weights at different sides of the car, get the student to drive it around. And so they're not allowed to have any weights fly off the edge of the car, so don't secure them. Maybe or lightly secure them and get that student to be able to do that. And so that by the end of it, they know how to drive that car 100% and it's like doing it in their sleep. They will react exactly how they need to react. The second part is the drilling section and sample collection. The drilling is actually quite easy. Well, as me sitting here saying that to you. Most people just grab a cheap drill from one of the local hardware stores, pull it apart, and you've got a fairly good process to develop a drill. The dust collection is a little harder, and so a number of people are experimenting with a number of ways to do dust collection. And that's something I'll need to leave with you. Obviously the junior challenge is less weighted towards dust collection, the senior challenges are weighted more towards the dust collection. The last area that you need to look at is the vision system. So obviously the person needs to know where they are on the course. So that's looking at the cameras and some sort of video feedback back to the station. So some people, the very simple ones, some people just tape their phone to the front of it and then FaceTimed or Skyped back to another phone sitting at the base station. Some people have used webcams, some people have then gone into, first person racing, FPV is pretty big nowadays. And so if you get onto any of the websites, and they've got lots and lots of video cameras and transmitters and receivers and virtual reality goggles and all that sort of stuff that can be hooked up, and for not much money nowadays, to be able to set up for that sort of stuff. So setting up some sort of vision system is massively important. Obviously we're going to be an indoors environment, so we can't use GPS. You could, and it's within the scope of the rules, you could set up your own positioning system of bits around the room, but that's going to lead to a whole stack of other problems in doing that. So they're the three key areas that you need to get to. But first point of goal is keep it very simple. And as you solve that problem, then go and add the next layer of complexity. Again, if you're at beginning school, if you're able to drive around the track and drill some holes with seeing some video, awesome. If you're returning school, work on your dust collection, because obviously that's going to be the hard part. The rules, the position of the drilling spots are going to gradually evolve over time, and so they'll become more bonus point drilling spots. So start looking about how you can manipulate your drilling in different directions and different ways. So there's some areas that we can look at.